Most people use yoga to chase calm and flexibility, but the way they've been practicing is quietly destroying their joints and overstimulating their nervous system. What if I told you that the fastest path to a peaceful and focused mind is not in doing more intense power yoga flows, but actually in never breaking these 5 simple laws that lead to a sustainable yoga practice? After 20 years of yoga, going from being that overachieving, push through the pain kind of student to now being able to practice without injury, I've seen how quickly things can change when you actually follow these laws, sometimes in just a matter of weeks. I'm Sushmita, but you can call me Sushi, and I grew up with yoga in India, surrounded by teachers who are now well into their 70s and 80s and are still practicing with no pain and not much, limitation in their bodies. But for years, I did what most busy, high-achieving people do. I brought that same kind of like hustle mindset onto the mat. So I ended up forcing the poses, ignoring my breath, and I pushed through all of that sharp pain that I was feeling. And I confused intensity with actually being able to make progress on the mat. And my body was like screaming. I knew that my mind was still kind of constantly buzzing. And honestly, my practice was just unsustainable. Now, the good news is that you don't need to make the same mistakes that I did. And if you're ready to stop performing and start preserving your body for the long haul, there is a link in the description below to learn more about my program. But today, I'm going to be sharing the 5 non-negotiable laws that keep your practice safe, your joints happy, and your mind actually calm. So let's dive right in. Think of your mind like water. Now, I'm not Bruce Lee, but without a container, it spills literally everywhere. And if you feel scattered and you feel overwhelmed and you feel exhausted all the time, even though you're doing all of the right things, your yoga practice might actually be the thing that's feeding into this chaos. And if you want to stop drowning in your own potential and have a practice that lasts you for decades, then you need to quit these 5 habits immediately. So, number 1, Sthira Sukham Asanam. Now, in the fitness world, we have this idea of no pain, no gain. In yoga, that mindset is literally straight up violence. I used to film yoga tutorials and then sit with an ice pack on my lower back for the rest of the day, and I used to call that dedication. That wasn't discipline, that was just plain stupid. And in yoga, when we say Sthira Sukham Asanam, we mean this concept of having steadiness and ease. And so sharp pain is not a badge of honor, it's a red siren. It's your body screaming, you're doing it wrong. And you need to learn the exact difference between what is the burn of a muscle working, where it's in the belly of a muscle, and what is like the pain that you feel in a joint that you absolutely need to avoid and you need to stop immediately. And if you still want to be practicing and walking comfortably well into your 50s and 60s, then the rule is really simple. The moment you feel this kind of bad pain in your joints and your ligaments, you need to stop and back off immediately. Law number 2 is an active foundation. Now, we need to stop obsessing over the aesthetics instead of alignment. Now, everyone wants to do that handstand and get the likes on Instagram, but if you force your body into a shape that it isn't quite ready for, or if you're not warmed up yet to do it, then something snaps, and usually it's you. So I realized that I was building my practice on really shaky foundation because I was born quite flexible and I was able to do some of these nice backbends. But when I did them without that structural foundation, I would end up being in pain afterwards. I remember this time when I was trying to do pincha and all I wanted to do was like take a picture of myself on a beach. And instead of learning how to be really solid in a forearm plank, I used to keep kicking up against a wall and failing. So the rule is really simple. Whatever touches the floor pushes it away. And this is your active foundation. Now, before you're able to balance on your hands or like go upside down or do all of these fancy things, you need to learn how to be rock solid with your plank. You need to learn how to spread your fingers. You need to learn how to grip the floor, and you need to have your shoulders engaged. So think of this kind of like a submarine, right? Now, a submarine, if it has a tiny crack and is just on the surface, it's kind of harmless for the submarine. But the deeper it goes, that same crack could collapse the entire structure under like greater and greater pressure. And so if you keep doing advanced asanas and you don't have a rock solid foundation, you're going to crack under that pressure. And if you keep prioritizing the external validation over the sense of inner integrity and alignment, your practice practice will always feel like something is off, and your body will be the thing that pays the price. Number 3 is Drishti. Now, you might think that checking your phone in the middle of your practice is absolutely harmless. You're just kind of responding to something that's urgent. It's not. It's a leak. The moment that your eyes dart to a notification, your mind has already left the mat. And if it happens mid-pose and your alignment breaks, then that's how you fall and that's how you tweak something. And you feel scattered because your visual field is absolutely scattered. And in yoga, we have this concept of a focused gaze or a drishti. Now, the logic is really simple. Wherever your eyes go, your mind also follows. And to stay safe and to stay truly present, you need to lock your eyes onto one single point. And when your visual field feels stable, your nervous system calms down and your body becomes stable. And so it's really important that you build a sustainable practice based on this idea of drishti, because a wandering mind and a jumpy brain is not going to get you to a place in your practice where you actually feel calm and centered. Number 4, respect the transition. Most injuries don't happen in that big dramatic pose. They happen in the moments in between when you're mentally checked out and you're thinking about something else and then something tweaks in your body. We worship speed in the culture we live in. We always think like, how fast can I get this done? How can I get to the next thing? But the truth is, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. When you rush through the transitions, when you move from upward dog to downward dog really quickly, and then you move from your mat straight to the next thing really, really quickly, you lose that muscular control and you rely solely on momentum, that, sense of rajas that carries you through the next movement. And momentum is not effective. Momentum is actually dangerous when you use it in those transitions. And I stopped glorifying like getting everything done in like 20 minutes and like trying to finish my practice and eat my breakfast and do the next thing. Because now I don't do 10 things in my morning routine. I just have one practice. I take a full breath. I do my shavasana. I give myself like time to really allow my nervous system to integrate my practice. And even though sometimes I feel like I'm wasting time, I have that time to breathe, to transition with control. And I think, ironically, I've managed to get way more done this way because I'm not constantly like fixing things that I did when I was doing it in a rush, and I'm actually taking time to do one thing at a time. So focus on the transitions. And the 5th one is the wisdom of regression. Now, I used to think that using a block or bending my knees was a sign of weakness because I was such an advanced yogi, but I couldn't hit the full expression of the pose every single day. And if I couldn't do it by myself without a block or without a strap, then somehow I thought of myself as a failure. And this is so weird because I keep telling my students not to do that. And this mindset is exactly why people quit after like 2 years of like reaching their what their body can do realistically. It's usually because they're not able to like see how to modify the pose and like keep working with it creatively. And sometimes they end up like, injuring a shoulder or a knee, and the practice never quite feels the same after that. And so the real skill is not in doing more and pushing ahead, but it's actually in knowing when to back off. And now today, I'm actually not afraid to modify at all. If my hamstrings are like tight on any given day, then I just bend my knees and I do a variation. If I feel like my energy is really low on a particular day, then I manage to like take a little bit of extra time to do the positions, and I take child's pose in between, I do my breathing. And actually this isn't like aggressive towards myself, because doing modifications doesn't mean that I'm a failure. It just means that I have self-respect and I don't want to like, do a practice where I'm just injured. If I plan on using my body for like 40 years from now, I'm not going to thrash it today just so that I can get some likes on Instagram, right? So wisdom of regression. Now, before you think I was just born flexible or just have good genes, I didn't get here by accident. I honestly had to walk through the fire and put myself through this for years. I did the same boring, difficult things every single day until one day it just became easy. Allowed myself to be bad at something until I got good at the thing. Same with recording videos, same with like so many skills that I've learned. I just allowed myself to be really, really bad and allowed myself to suck until I had the discipline to pull me out of it. And this disciplined era is not about being cruel to yourself. It's really about building such a rock solid structure that you're no longer fragile, either mentally or physically. So that's all I have for you today. I hope this gave you some sense of just a clearer path for your practice so that you actually thank yourself in the future. And by the way, if you're struggling to stay consistent, or you're dealing with some kind of nagging pain in your body, or if you've just been feeling like your practice is like all over the place at the moment, there is a link in the description below for you. It's about my yoga mastery program. The first thing you'll see is a video of me explaining what the program is about. And if you feel like that's something that you resonate with, I will encourage you to book a call with me. It's just so that we can see if we might be able to work together. And even if you don't click the link, even if you don't go watch that video, there's no hard feelings. There's absolutely no pressure. I'm just glad that you spent your time with me today watching this video, and then maybe you can take away one of these 5 laws and make a better decision on your mat tomorrow. And if you found this valuable, make sure that you hit the like and subscribe to my channel so that the algorithm sends you more of my videos. And as always, let me know how your practice is going or if I can help you with anything. But until next time, take good care of your body, guard your mind, and I'll see you in the next one.